the network and Rumble. Check us out, subscribe, type in Newswire on Rumble. Also, YouTube, if you like that. Go to YouTube, subscribe to Newswire on that, too. Somehow we're not getting cooked. This has got to be the longest stretch we've ever run on YouTube. I'm just doing it now to see when the evil G people will kick us back off again. We usually not go like more than about 2 or 3 days before they did. I think we're going in a couple weeks or so on that. So that's pretty cool. A lot of stuff, of course, mumbles Biden. It's even getting worse. Of course, we'll have Susan Shelley, hopefully, at the bottom of the hour, as we usually do on a Wednesday. More of the stuff, the Oakland hellhole going on. CNN folks broke out on the overall deporting of illegal immigrants on that. And the majority of Americans, even Hispanics, are in favor of deporting illegal aliens as of now. Very, very, very interesting set of circumstances we have going on. But we'll all work it on out. Who knows? It'll all, as they say, it all comes out in the wash. It's incredible sometimes of some of the stuff we have to endure as we work through the seemingly abyss. But we call it Willpower Wednesday today because you need an extreme amount of willpower to go through some of the machinations going on. This one is absolutely stunning, if you ask me. It's in the Oregonian. Oregon mom challenges state right rule for tampons in boys' bathrooms. Well, if I get the right one on there, here we go. Not only in the boys' bathroom, in 5-year-old boys' bathrooms, if you can believe that. I mean, it's patently stunning that we are to the point, as you see, they're putting tampons. Oregon's menstrual equity bill goes further than Washington's and California's. Jacob Hamilton. The way Shiling Strittenberg says she sees it, the issue comes down to cost. Board member of the Eagle Point School District in Medford, Strittenberger is also a mom. She wants more money for school supplies and books, she said. She's concerned that a state law that goes into effect in 2022 and 2023 school year would require K through 12 schools, community colleges, and universities to provide free menstrual products in all bathrooms, including bathrooms designated for boys, is an added expense. The state already fights to graduate more than 80% of its high school students. K through 12, your kids in kindergarten, your boys' bathroom in kindergarten is mandatory that they have tampons in it. I didn't even know why you would have tampons in the girls' ones at kindergarten. Again, that's how nutcase our society has become. That has got to be like in the top 3 insane rules, just from all over the place. Okay, junior high, high school. Let's see, we can make a case for having tampons in the girls' bathrooms. Okay, we get that. K through 12, 14, whatever, kindergarten, doesn't matter. We've completely lost our flippin' minds. And I think I'm being kind on that one. But we get to the Daily Mail. Everybody's talking about Oakland. What a flippin' disaster that area is. And again, that's probably being very kind to the situation. The Daily Mail put this out, a glimmer of hope for hellhole California City as residents take drastic action against their progressive mayor. The progressive mayor is none other than Shang Tao of Oakland. But let's see what the residents are doing. In just a year, Tao's incompetence and dishonesty, a progressive dishonest? Oh, that's perish the thought. How could a progressive that cares about everybody, it goes around calling everyone that doesn't agree with them a racist and a pig and a homophobe and a white hillbilly and illiterate and the whole thing? How could they be dishonest? Accelerated Oakland's decline, causing long-standing businesses to close and generational families to leave. Oakland United to recall Shang Tao campaign website states. She, of course, she turned down, didn't even file the application for $15 million in funds to help her city. Look at the hellhole it is. There's a little video going across. That's Oakland, California, miles and miles and miles of vagrant camps. And we all know how that story ends, or is, or lives. Crime-riddled Oakland may be one step closer to reversing fortunes after taking drastic actions against its progressive mayor. Pictured a shantytown in Oakland, California, as you see. They also accused her of lying about calling a state of emergency to deal with crime wave crippling the city. Oakland has been rocked by violent crime in the recent months, including murders, which have soared from 78 to 126. Where's little Miss Progressive Shang Tao and her buddy Pamela Price, the DA, who were saying, oh, the mean white hillbilly cops and district attorneys are just coming in here, arresting and jailing everybody that doesn't look like them. They were the problem, not the criminals committing the crimes. They were holier than thou. So the situation prompted several large corporations to pull out of the city, citing fears for safety, staff, and crippling retail theft. That's why Walmart, Target financed the deal, saying, hey, we're done with this. We're going to redo 47, or we're out of here. In-N-Out Burger, first hamburger stand they ever closed out of what, 300 or whatever amount they got. Never closed a one until Oakland took the meaning of hellhole to a higher level. It was always a hellhole, has been for 50 years. Shang Tao, Pamela Price, and all of them. You know, they deserve it. You keep electing these nuts. We're doing it across the state of California, too. Look at the legislature and the governor. And you know what? We'll elect Adam Schiff as U.S. Senator over Steve Garvey. And if we do, we deserve in California what we get. There's Shangy up there with her smiling little progressive face, and everybody was all all those that were being mean to these crooks and criminals and vagrants and illegals and everything and causing all the problem. Outrage in Oakland as a woman is viciously beaten and dragged. Well, let's give it the full scene. Oh, isn't that lovely? Yeah, look at those racist white hillbillies. Is that what you see there? Dragging the woman on there. No, we wouldn't put those criminals who are committing most of the violent crimes in jail. Look at Gavin Newsom closing down prisons. How many times you got to see this stuff before you jump into action? Is it the stand-up? Well, one kind of a small stand-up Riverside meeting the other day. They said, all y'all need to be down at the County Board of Supervisors of Riverside County. It's at least half of the greater metropolitan Inland Empire area. You need to be down there Tuesday, June 25th at 9:30 a.m. You can call in. Go check out their website. Look on the Riverside County Board of Supervisors agenda page. Gives you instructions on how to call in. You can call in. You need to demand them out of their almost $10 billion with a B, $10 billion budget they are going to pass on June 25th, that they fully fund the Indio jail. Second thing is you should tell them is don't call it a correctional center or whatever, a correctional deputies. It's a frickin' jail. Counties are jails for misdemeanors and lower sentences. Prisons are state or federal run, and that's where the heinous criminals goes. There are prisons and jails. We do not have correctional facilities. We don't correct them. We've had the evidence on here 9,042 times. Let's knock off the pussyfooting language. Sheriff Chad, if you're a real badass like you try to present yourself, then change the frickin' names to what they are. I wanted to read the Coyasburg Jail, the John Benoit Jail, the Bob Presley Jail, or Tom Mullen, or whoever the hell's name's on there, the one downtown. Correctional facility. Ain't correcting nobody. We're putting criminals in jail because they're doing crap like this. And we are allowing it. So get down there and have the Board of Supervisors fully fund. I don't know what it is. There's 1,200 beds in the Indio jail. They're saying it's half full. Well, when did you open up the second story? Or is it fully funded? Nobody gives me an answer. Nobody does that. We need to demand that. You know, the left, or the ACLU and the Quinine hating Corey Jacksons are down there wanting the people released. All y'all in the center right, sitting at home, or you're tacking on your computers, or you're griping and complaining, it ain't going to get it. Get your asses down to Riverside County on Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. or call in. Be ready to go. Just do them under public comments. You can get in. They usually start between 9:40, some about 9:40 to 10 o'clock usually at the latest. And tell them we want every one of them jails occupied. I don't want DA Michael Hestron. I don't want Sheriff Chad Bianco saying in Riverside County we're releasing people because we don't have jail space. We have jail space. We paid $300 frickin' million for it. Get it? And I don't want to hear you guys or any board of supervisors or any city. You should be at your city councils demanding that they pass a resolution telling them we want them jailed, then we want that Indio jail fully opened. It's been 5 years since it's been done. It took us 10 years to build the frickin' thing, and now I don't want to hear no frickin' excuses. Done with it. Unless you want this. Everybody, if you want Oakland to come here and everywhere else, then sit on your hands. Because, like I said, go look at the last budget deal. I was the only one talking about this or anything. There were 10 ACLU social justice warriors or whatever the hell they're calling themselves down there. So, who do you think they're going to listen to when they're hearing 15 of them and one of me? I mean, I like Sheriff Chad. I like DA Hester. I mean, it's mainly a Sheriff Chad deal on the Board of Supervisors. I want to make sure the Board of Supervisors in that almost $10 billion budget specifically states that there is the money in there to open the jail. Every jail bed space available in Riverside County will be opened and staffed for prisoners, inmates, whatever the hell you want to call them. This ish has gone on far the freak enough. Unless you want, ladies, unless you want to be dragged, well, let's run it again. Unless you want this. Men, husbands, sons, whatever. Unless you want your daughters dragged down the street like this, you better have your butts out there and start standing up. Like Chad, he's not a god. Like I've told you, if you think there's any chance that Sheriff Chad has to be governor, they are gonna run tapes like that, and they're gonna run him with all the commercials saying, "Oh, we had to let them out of jail. We had to let criminals out of jail because we had no bed space." They're going to put up there, that is a lie. Because they had the bed space, they didn't occupy it in Riverside County while he was sheriff. I'm trying to protect the guy. I'm trying to warn, I don't know what I got to. I got to send up smoke signals or like my native people did around here 300 or 400 or 500 years ago. We got to get carrier pigeons. Obviously, this new social media thing ain't working too good on this one. So we got to go back to the old-fashioned way of showing up. Not telling them, no, will you pretty please, demanding. Demanding you want the vagrant camps that are continuing to grow, especially down in Riverside. You think it's bad here. You think Chang Tao's got it together. That's what's coming in the whole Inland Empire if we don't stand up. You want it to look like this. Go right ahead.
All right, folks. Welcome to Oakland's Hooverville. This blows my mind. This is a little shanty town. Check this out. They built houses, straight up houses. Look at all this. This is absolutely mind-boggling.
It might be mind-boggling, but that's the reality of the situation. I hope people get their marching orders on this. I hope you in Moreno Valley, well, maybe we'll get into it tomorrow on them canceling the meeting and that. Well, they're going to try and do it next week. So they want to stack it against the school board, where the crime boss is retiring. We got a lot of work to do. Well, let's hit this one. I'm going to hit this report. just because I haven't used this one in a while. Homeless man killed while allegedly breaking into cars outside USC frat house. Identified. Here we go. Baby.
A homeless man breaking into a car. KTLA's Gene King is live in University Park with some new information. Gene, good morning.
Good morning, Eric and Jessica. A lot of students I've talked to say they are in shock. They are just stunned, and they say that Ivan Gallegos had a promising, bright future ahead of him until now. He lived with his friends at this fraternity house at USC's Greek Row. Now, that new information, officials just identified the deadly stabbing victim as 27-year-old Xavier Surf. Take a look at this video. In this Instagram clip, you see Ivan Gallegos, a 19-year-old USC student who is behind bars under suspicion of murder with a massive $2 million bail. He says he's from East LA, Boyle Heights. Detectives say Gallegos and two friends reportedly witnessed a 27-year-old homeless man burglarizing cars at Greek Row. That was on Monday night. And allegedly, Gallegos confronted that man.
40 seconds.
Then ended, unfortunately, in a deadly stabbing. Police say the 19-year-old claims self-defense and told officers the homeless man claimed that he had a gun. But later, LAPD...
So, as your Jesse said, 30 seconds coming in, or whatever it was on game.
20 seconds.
This is what's going on. We got home from Oakland to LA to the Inland Empire to San Diego, back up to Redding and Eureka, California. You want this crop to keep coming?
5 seconds. Here we go.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday live at 5:30 on the Monument, 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire and the aforementioned AM band. Join your vast video audience in the Evil FB Network and Rumble. Check us out, subscribe, type in Newswire on Rumble. Man, we just been going over the hellhole that Oakland is, and then Riverside County and all that. It's almost unbelievable. Like I said, this is a marching orders. Everybody's joining the mighty Met. Get down on, you don't want the vagrancy and criminals being released. Just reforming 47 ain't going to get it. You need to be down there at the Riverside County Board of Supervisors or phoning in next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. sharp, demanding that they open up, fully open up the Indio Jail, the John Benoit Jail. First, quit calling it a correctional facility. It's a frickin' jail. They don't correct it, but barely, lucky if they get 10% of them. Second, we don't want to hear in Riverside County we're releasing prisoners, that we're mandated from releasing prisoners because we have no bed space. We have bed space. We paid $300 freaking million for it. It took us 10 years to build it. It's been sitting there for 5 years. At what? 10, 20, 30% capacity? Get it fully funded. Sheriff Chad should be fully opening it. Now, if he fills that up and says he has to kick out prisoners, then we got a different story. 15 or so were down at the ACLUs and progressive and social justices. So I'm telling you right now, you in the center left, or you that just want to look at your cell phones and tack and look at your porno bull crap that you keep doing, if you want your city to look like this, like Oakland, you want it to look like that. It's looking like Oakland. We are not putting up with any of this stuff anymore for any reason. Or they're going to win. They will win. If we don't do this, they're going to win. They're going to win in Riverside County. I don't care. You can reform 47. You can pass that. If they don't open up those jails in Riverside County, and if Sheriff Chad doesn't stop running his mouth that I'm releasing prisoners because I don't have bed space, that ain't cutting it. We got two choices on that. Before my head explodes, I'm going to introduce our normal Wednesday guest. She's the famed editorial writer columnist for the Press Enterprise, San Bernardino Sun, Inland Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts. More important to me, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, Susan Shelley. Welcome to IE Newswire with Roy.
Thank you, Roy. Great to be with you, as always.
I got off on a tangent. Well, it's coming up. They're passing almost a $10 billion budget next Tuesday morning in Riverside County. At the last meeting, I know you're probably not following this. With the last meeting, they had the budget hearings and all, before they passed it, all the stuff. One thing I demanded, we spent $300 million building the John Benoit Correctional Facility. First, let's quit calling them correctional facilities. They're frickin' jails. Second, let's open it. Took us 10 years to build it, $300 million. It's been finished 5 years. It's only been at 20% capacity. Sheriff Chad, and I like Chad, but he's been running around saying, I got to release prisoners because I don't have bed space. I've been griping about this for 2 years. Nobody's doing nothing about it. I mean, we got to have a game plan on that. There's 10 or 15 ACLU, social justice, or all that going down there saying, oh, we're all mean to everybody and we're a bunch of racist white hillbillies. If we on the center right don't start stepping up to the plate, demanded from everybody, I don't care if you like them or not, demanded from everybody, let's get this fixed. You better stop me, Susan, before I really go nuts.
Well, this is a big issue. There's obviously a lobby in Sacramento that wants complete shutdown of all the prisons, and they are irrational on this issue. They just have this mindset that people who commit crimes must get away with it, and it's bizarre. It's bizarre, and it's counterintuitive. This was all smuggled through. In my opinion, this was smuggled through by wrapping it in the appearance that they were easing drug laws that really affected too many people. We had this war on drugs, and drugs like marijuana were heavily criminalized, and drugs like cocaine, which were widely used, were heavily criminalized. And this created sort of a voter constituency for let us alone, ease up. And then that was all wrapped around all the criminal justice reform stuff. So they would say, we're going to drop felony penalties on drug use. And people are secretly saying, well, there but for the grace of God go I, and they voted for criminal justice reform. And what they got is total chaos and anarchy and criminals getting away with literal murder. So this is not working. We can't close the prisons. We can't continue to go down this path of not sentencing people more harshly for using a gun and more harshly for being a murderous drug dealer who's killing people with fentanyl. We have to have sentencing enhancements to try and stop this from happening. And the Democrats in Sacramento and locally, they don't want to crack down on criminals. They want to crack down on businesses and taxpayers, which is not sustainable.
Yes, I get that. Here's my thing. Gavin Newsom, Gulag Gav, in his last May deal said they were planning on closing the Chuckawalla State Prison down in Blythe, which has been there for years. They're moving it up to November. So Sheriff Chad here in Riverside County has been, well, we can't staff at the undersheriff. The Sharp said that last meeting of my many inquiries. Well, that ain't going to be a problem come November because there's going to be a lot of jailers, not correctional deputies, they're jailers. They're going to be unemployed down in Blythe. And you know what? Going from Blythe to Indio is a vacation upgrade. So that excuse is off the table. What I'm saying is, yeah, I know Chad and Hestron and all the guys out here, Jason Anderson, Dicus, Spitzer, Brown, all that have worked to get this on, and that's great. And we're probably, barring some sort of miracle, it's going to pass. We're going to reform that part. But we got to hold up our end of the bargain. Now, we cannot do, they talk about the state stuff, that's fine. But I've been saying we can prosecute those misdemeanor crimes. They can prosecute it and they can put them in jail. And that's totally on the Board of Supervisors, whichever county you're in, the county sheriff. So let's quit. I'm not going to say it. Let's quit. Do it. Do it. When you have 100% of the tools and you're not doing it, you're going to look like a fool eventually if you're criticizing the same action as disaster. Tell me I'm wrong, Susan.
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're raising an important point.
Good. I mean, and I'm encouraging everybody in Riverside County to put the pressure. I'm not, because man, the world's worst secret, everybody knows Chad's going to run for governor in 2026. And I don't want them coming back with, I can see the ads. I've never been told what the ads are going to be. So if he doesn't get his act together, along with the rest of us, it's going to be a disaster, I believe, extraordinaire on that. That's why I'm sounding the main alarm bells that I'm sounding out there. And I'm hoping to motivate more people to actually get engaged. Be down there. It's like I said, 10 or 15 of the ACLU progressives were down there, and they were arguing this exact opposite case of that. Anyway, I want to get to your columns before I do something that I'll probably regret. Susan Shelley, Democrats versus democracy. Tell us what this is all about.
Well, the Democrats they have declared war on our initiative powers, essentially, and so they are trying to destroy 3 separate initiatives, one that actually passed in 1996. That's Proposition 218, which prohibits the government from overcharging you for services. It creates a right to vote on taxes and various procedures for giving you the right to challenge illegal water rates. For instance, water rates have to reflect the cost of service and the proportional benefit to your particular parcel. They can't just make up stuff and assign different rates to different homeowners or businesses randomly. It has to be based on something. So Prop 218 requires that, and the water agencies don't want to comply with it. They just want to charge everybody more, whatever they feel like doing to whoever they feel like doing it to. So there are 3 bills in the legislature that the Democrats are pushing, and that so far they're sliding them right through. They're probably all going to pass. One is AB 2257, which essentially prohibits court challenges to illegal water rates by messing with the period of time when you can file a challenge, cutting it down essentially to 75 days, but it's actually below that, because what they're saying is unless you bring your specific legal challenges within the 45 days before the vote at the public hearing, you can't ever raise those again. Well, what that means is they can hide all the information from you for 45 days, and then the clock runs out, and when you finally see what they're doing, it's too late to sue. So that's very serious. That just slams the courthouse door and lets them get away with any kind of illegal water rate. And then there's AB 1827, which allows them to base water rates on fictitious metrics. They can say, well, we predict that this sort of parcel will use this much water, so it has to have a higher rate. And it doesn't have to be based on anything. It can be complete BS. And it is complete BS. That's 1827. And then there's SB 1072, which says no refunds. If they overcharge you and they're caught at it, all they have to do is give you a credit on your bill. But that hurts the consumer in 2 ways. One, if you've moved or sold your business, what good is a credit on the bill? You're not paying them anymore, so you're just a loser on that. And the other thing is it stops class action lawsuits, because there's no fund of money to refund those overcharges, so the lawyers won't get paid, or they won't get paid as much or as easily, so there won't be any lawsuits. And that's essentially what they're trying to do. So that's how they're wrecking 218. And then the two initiatives that they're trying to wreck before you vote on them. One is the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act, which makes it harder to raise taxes. And the governor is suing to have it taken off the ballot tomorrow At 10 o'clock in the morning, the Supreme Court's going to release its decision on whether the TPA initiative is on or off the ballot. We shall see. And the third one that they're messing with is the Prop 47 reform initiative, which you've probably been following this. Here's the trick on that. The legislature's passing 14 tough on crime bills and putting a special provision in each of them that says this will be repealed if the voters approve the Prop 47 reform initiative. And the reason for that is so when Attorney General Rob Bonta writes the title and summary, he can say, if this passes, it repeals these 14 public safety laws. It's a complete trick to make it look like the proposition does the opposite of what it actually does. So that's what's going on. That's the war on democracy right now in Sacramento.
I know I hate to shoot the messenger, and I know it's your fault, not your fault, but you're not making my throbbing, screaming headache over this any better with all that report going on. Of that, I mean, when does this madness? When do we wake up? I mean, I saw Adam Schiff actually going up against the polls against Garvey in this stuff. When are we going to? We went through the Shangtao deal with the Daily Mail of that, or did everybody get? When do they get enough? When do we, as a whole state of California, and even in our local communities? When do we rise? Well, they are starting to in Oakland. When do we rise up in a revolt over this, or what? I don't know, but I mean, what? And in any sane world, in any semi-sane world, the rendition you just described would never even be tolerated, Susan Shelley.
This is very frustrating. There's a lot of strong-arm tactics going on in Sacramento. One of the problems is that the government is completely unethical. So what they are doing is they are trying to strong-arm people into giving up their rights. And they are successful at it, Governor Newsom and these legislative leaders, because there's so much in California that the government can mess with. They can mess with your permission to build and to operate. Everything from will a restaurant be allowed to have a patio to whether a data center will be allowed to have electricity. They're messing with everything. And nobody wants to cross these vicious, vindictive government elected officials. And as a result, nobody runs against them, or, you know, the parties, the Republican Party doesn't run aggressively against them. And we have this continuous situation of abuse of power under a one-party state. And it's getting worse. So, you know, history shows that these things don't last forever. Political machines do break at some point and wind up in handcuffs. They usually end in handcuffs. And I think possibly this one will too. We'll see.
Handcuffs would be like a vacation at the French Riviera, of what I have in mind. I mean,
you're rolling in the guillotine, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, seriously. I mean, and I hate to say this or try to get off on the whole thing, but I mean, we're almost. I mean, I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking we're almost back to George Washington time in 1776 against King George. And I mean, we just got, I mean, I just hope that and I'm not encouraging it, but I hope we don't get to the point where we're just saying, okay, we're rolling the dice. It's either, we're either going for it or, you know, we're going to be hung. And that's basically, when they signed the Declaration of Independence, those signers basically knew that's what they were doing. They knew they either had to win this war or they were going to be hung. And I mean, I really hope we don't get down to that point. But, you know, if we don't really start buckling down, you know, I don't know, Susan.
Well, these things do change. The Berlin Wall fell. The Soviet Union collapsed. These things do happen. And the day before it happens, no one sees it coming. So it can happen. It's a steep climb in California, but I have to say that we are seeing people who have always been really disinterested Democrats, I'm going to call them. They don't pay much attention. They kind of believe whatever everybody's telling them in the news. And they've been disinterested, and they think, oh, well, the Republicans are evil and don't care about women's rights and don't care about gay rights, and they're going to, you know, going to shut down birth control and everything. There are a lot of people who believe that, and they think the Democrats love the earth and love the poor and love it. But I think what has happened between COVID and the censorship regime that we've had and the inflation and the other problems that we're having in the economy, a lot of people have woken up. Not enough people in California, but more people have woken up. And we can't all leave the state. I know that in the past 10 years, that's what's been happening. The people who are the most upset just get up and go. And now they're in Idaho and North Carolina and Wyoming and everywhere else. We can't all go. We have to stay and fight for this state. So I think eventually it does change. I don't think it changes in this election cycle, but we'll see what happens in 2026. Maybe we'll have, with an open governor's seat, maybe we'll have a more competitive, more productive election.
The encouraging part of it, I see Trump coming up in the polls in California, and I don't know if they've specifically done it in that this phenomenon, and Mumbles Biden was back on the thing, and we've heard all the reports, and I'm hearing them even stronger, that Democratic Party, they don't really know what to do. They don't know whether to just give up in this presidential year and just ride it out with Biden and go for 28 or all that. But more to the point of what you're talking about is we really need to start this reform movement or changing this stuff radically. I mean, of course, we know it starts with Trump and coming in November, and that looks pretty good. But black males especially, but blacks in particular of that, and that's what's real. Everybody, in the know knows. If Democrats are getting 15% or Republicans are getting 15% or more black support, it's almost impossible for Democrats to win nationally presidential elections. And Trump seems to be going 20 and higher, and that hasn't happened probably since Nixon, maybe in 1960 or something. But we're down to this point. They are giving up on that part, and they're starting to retool their strategy on that. And I do see that hope. And if they start tuning, which the Oakland area is mainly black, and they're trying to recall them idiot Shang Tao, the mayor, and that dingbat, the DH, Pamela Price, who's caused that. So maybe they're looking at this new coalition look, Hispanics right now, the majority of Hispanics want illegals deported. And I think it's like, 2/3 of the country is saying, wait, I didn't even think we'd get to that point of the rhetoric of the last 20, 30, 40 years since 187 and everything. I never thought we'd even get to the point of even talking about it, much less 2/3 of the country wants illegals deported. I mean, I do see some signs, so I don't want to be Debbie Downer on this thing, but some of the things that go on. Yeah, go ahead.
Things could change. Joe Biden won't leave. So the Democrats are stuck with him. Unless he dies, the Democrats are stuck with him. And they're stuck with Kamala Harris. There's no way out. But I'll give you some wild-eyed predictions. They're not exactly predictions, but things that could happen. Not likely, but could happen. Kamala Harris is talked into getting off the ticket, hypothetically, and coming to California to run for governor for the next 2 years. And she gets all these endorsements from people who have a pained look in their eyes, but they have to do it. So she would leave the ticket, and then they could put Hillary Clinton in as vice president. And of course she would take it, because she would take anything to ratchet up her leverage for fundraising and grifting again. Because right now she's got no juice at all and she can't grift. So she needs to have an office in order to grift. She needs to be in the mix in order to get those donations to the foundation and to her PAC to pay for the hairdresser. These are the priorities. So that's what you would have. You'd have Kamala Harris running for governor in California. You'd have Hillary Clinton second in line to the presidency. Of course, Trump would beat them like a drum. And then anyone in California on the Republican side could beat Kamala Harris because she's awful. So there you go. There's a prediction. And here's one more. To cheer you up. Robert Kennedy is on the statewide ballot in California on the AI, American Independent Party ticket. This is very interesting because if he takes enough votes from Biden and Trump gets, let's say, 40 or 41% in California, and I think he was at like 34 or 35% in the last election. So let's say he picks up a little bit and he picks up some of the Hispanic vote and he picks up some of the young vote, picks up some of the disgusted Democrat vote. He gets 40% and the other 60 is split between Biden and Kennedy. And Biden comes in with like 39 and Trump's got 40. Trump will carry California.
Man, I hope your magic wand is working perfectly.
I'll grant you it's not likely, but it's mathematically more possible than it was in 2020.
I would have even said, I would have said you had been absolutely lost your mind even 6 months ago coming up with that. But no, there's I'm not saying that it is, but I mean, there's at least now a plausible possibility, and I'm goofing up my words on that, of what you're saying is correct. And and I'm getting a lot of vibes on that all across the board. The Democratic Party, the left, and all that are really, really, really just, they can't believe it. We got about a minute left. Tell them why they should join HJTA. Go.
The Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association fights for taxpayers in the legislature, in the courts, on the ballot, and you should be a member. Because when you're a member, you strengthen the voices of people who are sensible in California and people who are paying the bills in California and people who are sick of the way it's being run. Join the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, hjta.org. hjta.org. You'll get our newspaper, Taxing Times. You'll be a member. You'll get all of our updates about legislation that you need to call your lawmakers about. It's the greatest organization for normal people in California, hjta.org.
Thanks for being on, Susan. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you, Roy.
You got it there, Susan Shelley, Vice President of Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association and columnist extraordinaire for the Southern California News Group on that. Man, what a day, what a rendition of what is going on. And yeah, I mean, like I said, even a few months ago, I just thought the scenario there Susan rolled out at the end would be impossible. But now I'm thinking maybe it's got a chance. I've been talking about standing up for our country, doing something. These big box stores stayed open while the little guys closed. Will our voices be heard? Does voting with our dollars work? PatriotSwitch.com gives patriots the power to walk away from the big box stores forever. Stop supporting the enemies of freedom now. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, for those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com. Is your car doing the hucklebuck and afraid you will be stuck? Well, head on down to Toyota of San Bernardino, Nissan of San Bernardino, Subaru of San Bernardino, in the San Bernardino Auto Mall, and catch a Camry, look ravishing in a Rogue, or be styling in a Subaru. Don't forget I-10 Toyota in Indio for those of you in the lower desert. You deserve to be the happiest human on the planet. So head on down to one of these 4 great dealerships for the car of your dreams. Spread the word. IE Newswire is now on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 p.m. on Rumble and KMET 1490 AM, 5:30 to 6 p.m. Join all the cool kids who want an eclectic look at the news without all the filters of the evil scoundrels of social media and the despicable dorks of the dominant press. Don't bumble and stumble. Subscribe to IE Newswire on Rumble and roll with the best hillbilly hoedown around. That's it. If you want to buy American, go to PatriotSwitch.com. If you need a new Toyota or Subaru, go to Winnicliff Cummings Great Dealership at San Bernardino Auto Mall at the 10 and 215 freeways. Don't forget I-10 Toyota down in the lower desert of India, where they need to open that freaking jail. I had to throw that in. Oh, yeah, what a day. We'll be back tomorrow on a practice Friday. Of that, I'm sure there'll be a couple of stories or something to report on, or something to have me go off on a tumultuous rant, but sometimes we have to shake people just to get them motivated before it's too late. That'll do it for today. We usually say it this time. Mandatory, you're back here in 23 hours live. You hear the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya!
All right, I'll talk to you later.
You got her.